Today we're reading Wren, Chapter 4, Searching for the Doctor. Many times now, Karen and her mother and father went away in the car. Marie missed them very much when they were gone, but she didn't mind because they were looking for a doctor who could tell Karen how to use her hands and feet and sit up. Once, when no one could come to stay with Marie, she went too. It was great fun. She had Karen in her lap and held her up so she could see out the window. They saw cows, brown and white ones, which were all facing in the same direction. They saw pigs. The pigs were led out to pasture like cows and sheep instead of being penned. They were pink and clean and shiny. In the pasture by a river, Marie spotted a baby horse and three big horses. Daddy, stop, stop, she said excitedly. Let's go see the baby horse. Daddy drove the car over by the fence and stopped. A baby horse is called a colt, he said as he opened the door. Would you like to go over and talk to him? Oh, yes, Daddy. Can Karen come too, and Mommy? We'll all go, Daddy said. But if you jump around or yell, you'll frighten him, so we'll tiptoe and whisper. They tiptoed over to the fence, Daddy carrying Karen. The mother horse went over and stood close to her colt and watched them. I hope they don't run away, Marie whispered as she and Karen and Mommy and Daddy were as quiet as mice. Karen's eyes got rounder and rounder, for she had never seen a real live horse before. Cautiously, they climbed up and sat on the fence. It was hard to sit so still, but Daddy said if they did, the colt might come over to them. They waited, and then he did. His legs were long and thin like sticks. They wobbled. Mommy said he was only 4 or 5 days old. He twitched his ears at them, and then he shook himself a little. They held their breath, for he was walking toward them. His mother came too, as though she were afraid his shaky legs would buckle under his awkward steps. He walked right up to Marie and put her nose in her outstretched hand. She was so happy she wanted to squeal, but she remembered just in time that it would scare him away. His nose was warm and so very soft. It was just like her mother's black velvet hat. Karen laughed, but surprisingly, the noise didn't frighten the colt. Marie put Karen's hand on his soft, soft nose. They told him he was a good boy and very pretty. He tossed his head up and down. He's saying, yes, I am, Marie told her father. They didn't want to leave the colt ever, but they had a long way to go before dark, so they all threw him kisses and promised to come back someday. Soon Marie forgot about the colt because she was thinking about the doctor they were going to see and wondering if he could help Karen. Her mother and father were silent, and she guessed they were probably thinking the same thing. In spite of their wonderings, they made a gay adventure of a trip. They went across a big river on a boat that carried automobiles on it, a ferry. They got out of their car and stood at the rail. In the water all around them were other boats, big ones and little ones, and medium-sized ones, freshly painted ones and shabby ones. The boats had whistles that sounded like a big gold horn in a band. As the ferry moved out into the river and the other boats blew their whistles to say hello, the ferry blew its whistle back. It was the loudest of all. It said, "Here we come, get out of our way, woo, woo!" And all the other boats obeyed the big whistle. Later in the afternoon, when the Killalay family were on the way home, the train whistled hello to them as it went by, and a man in a striped hat leaned out of the engine and waved. They all waved back, and he blew the whistle again. Goodbye. Karen went to sleep, but Marie snuggled down in her corner, wakeful until she could ask her mother and father a question. She wanted to ask, yet she was afraid too. Mommy, what did the doctor say? Can he help Karen? She hoped as hard as she could that her mother would say yes. She could play so many games with Karen if she could sit up. Mummy asked her slowly, Not this time, dear. We'll try again, won't we, Daddy? You bet we will, Daddy assured her, leaning over the back of the seat to pull the blanket around Marie. Go to sleep, Princess. Okay, Marie said drowsily and fell asleep thinking that her daddy could do anything. Karen got fatter and fatter. She was completely round with dimples in cheeks, elbows, and knees. Dr. John told Marie, Karen is well and beautiful and plump because you take such good care of her, because you give her so much love. Babies need love more than anything else to make them grow. Marie was proud when he said this, and even prouder when her mother told her father how Dr. John had praised her. Daddy observed, That just shows how wise we were to make Karen your baby. Marie was growing fast too. Because she was good, she was happy. And because she was happy, she was getting prettier and prettier. She took care of heating Karen's chopped food, and sometimes when Mommy had to go to the store, she would leave Marie alone with Karen. So Marie was a sitter at an early age. She had a responsibility, and this helped to make her happy. Karen was now 3 years old, and her sister felt very much like a mother when she had to scold her, as she sometimes did. Karen thought it lots of fun to try to whistle when she had a mouthful of food. That food would spurt out of her mouth, on her dress, on the tray, on the floor, and on Marie. That, of course, was bad manners, and as a good mother, Marie had to scold. Karen, however, was such a joyous child that even when you scolded her, she laughed. Her laugh was catching, and often as not, Marie had to laugh too.